Welcome to Mysteries to Die For and this toe tag. I am TG Wolff and I'm here with Jack, my piano player and producer. This is normally a podcast where we combine storytelling with original music to put you at the heart of a mystery. Today is a bonus episode that we call a toe tag. It's the first chapter from a fresh release in the mystery, crime, and thriller genre. And today's featured release is The Long Shadow of Murder by Eleanor Kuhns. And guess what? We are actually going to do the first chapter today. So let's jump right in. Constable Rouge and Will Rees rode south on Surrey Road, past the Shaker community, until they reached the entrance at the south end. They pulled into a small clearing and Rees parked his wagon. When he had first gone to town for supplies, Lydia needed both flour and sugar, he had not intended to join the constable in his search for a missing man. But, hearing of the disappearance, Rees's curiosity had driven him into joining Rouge in the search. "I still think we should have questioned the Shakers first," Rouge said critically as he dismounted and tied his bay to a nearby tree. "On Sunday, Mr. Bergen told his wife that he was going to Zion. He might still be there." "Was he planning to join the Shakers?" Rees asked. "No," Rouge said with a grin. "Hardly. He came to Durham because he heard that the Shakers danced naked, and he wanted to see the fair white forms of the women." Rees could hear the quotation. "Huh," Rees said. Although aware of the scurrilous slander concerning the Shakers, he could not understand why anyone would be foolish enough to believe it. The Shakers were a modest, quiet, and industrious people. The gullibility of men constantly amazes me. "You should hear what I hear at the tavern," Rouge muttered. "Besides," Rees continued, ignoring the constable's aside, "if there had been a problem at the Shaker community, wouldn't someone inform you?" Rouge shook his head. After a moment, Rees reluctantly nodded in agreement. Maybe not. The community was notoriously insular and tried to handle any issues themselves. During the smallpox epidemic last year, the one that had sickened Rouge and left him severely scarred, they had refused all offers of assistance. "We may have to speak to them," Rees agreed. He was not enthusiastic. Elder Jonathan was beginning to display some irritability toward Rees in his frequent requests for help. "Since you were told by Mr. Bergen's friend that he rode this way, I suggest we start our search here, in these woods. Maybe his horse threw him, or," he added, looking at the muddy track across the road, "he might have taken the lane across the street back to town." Rouge shook his head. "Mr. Bergen did not return to town. I'm certain of that. We looked." "It's unlikely he disappeared on that path," Rees said. It was just past midday, and the sun felt warm on his shoulders and face. They were at the end of April. Although the snow from the last storm still lingered on the shadowed down, the slopes of the hills and under the trees, he could see bright spring green beginning to fringe the trees. "Farms line both sides of that little road, and all the farmers will be out in the fields now, beginning the spring planting. If something happened to Mr. Bergen, and his body was dumped there, most likely someone would have seen it. He disappeared during the day, yes?" At Rouge's nod, Rees paused a moment, thinking, "Did his horse return?" "No, that's gone too. Of course," Rouge added cynically, "Mr. Bergen might have continued riding south, hoping to find a new life. His disappearance does not mean he was murdered." "Someone was here," Rees said, pointing to a relatively fresh pile of horse dung. "And recently, too." "So Mr. Bergen stopped here," Rouge said, "close to Zion." "It wasn't necessarily Mr. Bergen. It could have been another visitor." Rees hoped that was so, but feared the constable was correct. It was still too early in the spring for many visitors. Rees squatted to examine the soft, slick mud underfoot. Although his wagon wheels had cut across the older tracks, he could see the horseshoe-shaped indentations left by a shod horse. "Whoever rode in here," he said, pointing out the marks to Rouge, "he tied up over there. See?" He pointed to a tree. "There are boot prints where the rider dismounted." Rouge crossed the dirt and stared down at the impressions. "Look at the toes," he said. "Riding boots. And here are nicks left by spurs." Rees pointed. Did Mr. Bergen wear riding boots? Could they be his prints? Grimacing, Rouge nodded. You were right, Rees looked at Rouge. Mr. Bergen went into Zion. Rees followed the tracks to the bridge that went to Zion's main street. When he crossed the bridge, he saw the same footprints on the other side. But a few yards in, the riding boots were met by farmers' boots. The riding boots turned around and returned to the other side of the bridge. One of the Shaker brothers prevented him from entering the village, he said. He walked back out to the road, Rouge said. Here are the marks of those boots here. Taking care to avoid the boot impressions, Rees jumped across the soft earth. He misjudged his landing, and his right foot went deep into the puddle. Cold, muddy water began seeping into his shoe. Rouge laughed. It's not funny, Rees said, lifting his foot to shake it. Water flew in all directions. Hey, Rouge complained, jumping back. Serves you right, Rees muttered, but without malice. He was too focused now on following the tracks. The riding boots went to the road where they were joined by another pair of shoes. The soil on the edge of the road was drier, more solid, so the imprint was shallower and hard to see. I think these are ordinary shoes, Rees muttered to himself. Do you see any signs of another horse? He called out to Rouge. No, the constable replied, adding sourly, but I am not the great tracker you are. He met someone who walked here, Rees said. One of the Shaker brothers, then, Rouge said with the air of a man who had solved the problem. Perhaps not, Rees said. He was well used to Rouge's propensity for jumping to the easiest and most obvious solution. The second fellow could have tied up in the lane and then walked across the street to meet him. Or, he added quickly to forestall Rouge's objection, he could have even walked down the lane. Rouge eyed Rees for a few seconds and then nodded. Yes, all right, he could have seen Mr. Bergen from the lane, he agreed. It would have taken no time at all to cross Surrey Road from town. But then, where did he go? Rees did not reply. Instead, he began following the tracks made by the riding boots south along Surrey Road and away from Zion. From the impressions, it seemed the man was walking slowly. Not running, not afraid, just ambling along. Every now and then, Rees spotted a footprint or two produced by the other boots. It seemed the two men were talking as they followed the road. He found the spot where the two people paused. But when he walked further down the road, he discovered he had lost the trail. There were no discernible footprints. He turned and walked back to the last spot he had seen them. This time, when he looked around, he saw scuff marks through the leaves descending the slope into the forest. Here, Rouge said, pointing to a downed tree several yards in. Muttering under his breath, Rees followed the constable further into the woods. Rouge's path had obscured the marks left by the two men. But when Rees fought his way through the brambles and the stand of small fir trees, he saw why Rouge had summoned him. Right in front of the downed tree was a mess of overturned leaves, where the feet of two men had disturbed them. They sat down to talk, Rees said, staring at the disordered leaves on the ground. He was beginning to believe these two men had nothing to do with Mr. Bergen's disappearance, and that this entire search was a waste of time. The absence of the horse also made him wonder if Rouge was correct and Mr. Bergen had simply chosen to disappear. Rees was disappointed. Without really articulating his desire to himself, he had been hoping for something more serious. After several months spent inside at home, he was ready for some excitement. With a sigh, he examined the disturbance in the leaves. It looked as though one of the men had risen to his feet and began pacing. But as he neared the thicket, he smelled the barest whiff of coppery, rotten smell of old blood. The odor was so faint he wondered if he'd imagined it. Pausing, he lifted his face and took a deep inhalation into his nose. "What are you doing?" Rouge asked, staring at Rees in fascination. Rees threw him a glance but did not reply. Instead, he plunged forward, following the disturbance in the pad of last year's leaves. Although the oaks and maples were just beginning to show the first bright green new leaves, and the sun shone through the barest branches, the tall pines kept the ground below in shadow. Rees tracked the trail around tree trunks and through slick, muddy patches, but he was halted by a large expanse of flat granite. He could not tell which way the trail went, straight down the slope or to one side or another. As he stared at the rock in consternation, Rouge toiled up behind him, puffing. "Why have you stopped?" he asked, panting for breath. "Not sure which way to go," Rees admitted. Nodding, Rouge joined Rees on the rock slab, and for a moment they were silent. "Wait," Rouge said, holding up a hand. "Listen, do you hear it? A horse." For a moment, Rees listened. Yes, he heard the faint whickering of a horse. The sound came from below them, but he couldn't tell exactly in what direction. Rouge started forward, moving so quickly on the muddy and leaf-strewn slope that he fell. "Damn," he grumbled, staggering to his feet and continuing down the hill. Rees glanced at the steep gully, the bottom slick with trickling snowmelt, and turned to the bare rock. He stared across the granite, angling down the slope toward the distant creek. The rock was not uniformly flat, and as Rees clambered over the ledge, stepping down to the slab below, he saw streaks across the gray, dark brown streaks, and Rees knelt beside them and lightly touched the stain. Blood. All right, so that is chapter 1 of The Long Shadow of Murder by Eleanor Kuhns. So The Long Shadow of Murder is an amateur sleuth mystery. 7 children, soon to be 8, and a large farm keeps Will Rees busy, but he still has time for murder. A visitor to Durham, Maine is missing. Rees and Rouge, the tavern owner and constable, find the man's body in the valley outside of town with his wallet and jewelry intact, and the search is on in Durham and nearby Shaker community of Zion. When another body is found, and then a third, the question is, what connects the victims and will lead to a killer? Bottom line, The Long Shadow of Murder is for you if you like whodunit mysteries, immersed in historical fiction. All right, so The Long Shadow of Murder tells the story of Will Rees, a 40-something veteran of the War for Independence. And while farming and weaving are Will's day job, he's an amateur detective assisting and often leading murder investigations with Durham's Constable Rouge. His wife, Lydia, assists and is especially gifted at drawing out information and reading between the lines and the lies. The mystery is interwoven with stories from Will and Lydia's home life. Lydia is about to give birth. With the 5 children they adopted, and Will's son by his first marriage, that makes 8 Rees children, plus Annie, the young woman who lives in and helps with the house, who's about to marry her Thomas. As our detective, Will is readily likable. He is committed to the question of who did it and squarely faces the facts of a case as well as the suspects. You really got a sense for his personality and his demeanor here with this first chapter. Lydia and Rouge are solid complementary characters who round Will out. They kick in an insight or two and they act as sounding boards. So it's a good trio. You know, every detective needs to have his, I guess we'll call it supporters or sidekicks, and these two are definitely strong complements to each other. This mystery will really appeal to those who love historical fiction. Kuhns not only did her homework to understand the hows of daily life in the late 1700s and early 1800s, but wove them in casually, painting pictures rather than lecturing. From spring mud to weddings and childbirth, from wagon designs meant for families and girls' educations, we see life for the average Maine family as it was lived. Now, I've had discussions with other authors about mysteries as sort of documenting life as we know it. Certainly, if you read stories that were written in the 60s and 70s, everything's written pretty much in present tense, and so you get to see what life was like then. Those of us old enough to remember it are like, oh yeah, I remember that. And for people young enough to not have lived through that, it's a little glimpse into history. Well, I really felt Kuhns did similar with this. Like, she didn't bang it over your head that, hey, this is historical, this is the way they used to make wagons. It was put in there just as matter of fact, Will now is going to have 8 kids. He needs a bigger wagon. And I really appreciated that. I thought it added a lot of texture and color to the story. And I really think that people who like historical fiction, especially from that colonial period, there's a lot in here for you to like. Standing at the end of this one and looking back to the beginning, I have a few questions. Whodunits are my favorite genre, and I don't just read them, I play along. So my strongest criticism here was that I didn't think there were enough clues coming out in the natural role of the story to really connect the killer to the crime or to rule out suspects, even as the body count grew. This is totally a Tina problem. Like I said, a lot of people don't read mysteries like they're puzzles and something to be done. So mystery lovers who read as ride-alongs, you're likely to have absolutely no issue and just enjoy every moment of this one. Will Rees is a continuing feature detective for Kuhns, with this being the 12th book in the series. It was the first one I've read. Readers of previous stories will enjoy this newest installment, and those who are new to it, like me, you can absolutely jump in right here. The mystery is standalone, and Kuhns gives us enough backstory on Rees's family and characters that are featured in other books to understand who they are, the role they play, and the connection to the family. The Long Shadow of Murder is an engaging and entertaining read with added fun for levels of colonial era historical fiction. The Long Shadow of Murder is promoted by Partners in Crime Tours and is available from Amazon and other book retailers. Now let me introduce you to our author. Eleanor Kuhns is a 2011 winner of the Minotaur Mystery Writers of America First Novel Prize for A Simple Murder. The Long Shadow of Murder is the 12th in that series. She also has written a Bronze Age Crete series. We've reviewed the Bronze Age one, and I'm sorry, I should have looked up the title, but I did forget to do that. Either way, I really love that series too. The characters in there, they definitely appealed to me. A lifelong librarian, Eleanor transitioned to full-time writing at the start of the pandemic. She lives in upstate New York with her husband and her dog. You can catch up with her on her website, Eleanor-Kuhns, that's Kuhns.com, and on her social media. Links are in the show notes. Wondering what to read after you finish The Long Shadow of Murder? Partners in Crime Tours is your ultimate destination for all things mystery, crime, thriller, and cozy. Since 2011, they've been working to fill bookshelves with gripping and heart-pounding reads. Discover new mystery series and connect with other fans with Partners in Crime. Look up Partners in Crime Tours on the web or your favorite social media. And authors. Whether you're looking to promote your latest thriller, discover a new mystery series, or connect with fellow fans of the genre, PICT has you covered. Check out their promotion options that come with the personal attention of a dedicated coordinator. And then join us next week for our last episode in Season 8, Anything But Murder. It's Detective Conley Gets Filmed in 4K by TG Wolff, where, well, Connolly is still trying to figure out what the murderless crime was. All right, Jack, take us out.